Good morning, welcome to Zwift Community Live. The KRT Racer Focus today, coming from the new and improved KRT East Coast headquarters here in the United States of America. We got the green screen, check it out. Woo. Yeah, that's right, I can cut my arms off now. Excited to be with you here for a 3-lap race of the Greater London Flat course, or London Flat or something like that. First time I've done this particular course. It is fairly flat, but there are little bits of hills here and there to shake things up. Any little incline in Zwift is gonna split up the group a little bit. So let me know what you think. Got a few KRT members in the group here today. Always excited to ride with the teammates. Got a good warm-up in as well. 2 minutes to go here. I'm gonna really quickly make sure we are good to go with the audio situation. Wow, sounds pretty good. Audio is the hardest part of streaming to get right, so I'm glad that we're all set. I got comments lined up over yonder. Don't know if I'm missing something or another there, but doing our best. Got a minute to go. Basically, at this point, you just want to settle in, get that heart rate steady but low. I've already gone through half a bottle. It's a little bit toasty. Got my power up for everyone to see. Power ups are allowed in the KISS races. Definitely a strategic element. Don't want to just blow your power up whenever. You want to make it count. I'd like to welcome a new team member to the KISS Racing team. That's Simon Oxenham, joining us today for the first time. Got several speedy types in this group. So this is a community race open to everyone. So everybody's welcome to come in. If you want to race with me, just join the A category. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday. We got to spin it up here. You get that classic KISS race start. Hey, Bass Salts. Say hi to Bass Salts, everyone. He's new. This is the A category. We start first. Get us out of the way. Then the other boys come through. So there's no actual like mountain or steep hill, but all these little 3%ers, they add up. See Jeffrey Creel here from Team Vision, representing the lane down under. Got to stay with the bunch draft. Take advantage of the slipstreaming. Been doing this all summer. You can join me in the winter. It's gonna be wild. Real excited for this new Northern Hemisphere season. You know we're doing it right. 1 beat off the threshold, 2 minutes in. Gonna be a long one, boys and girls. The so-called warm-up is not a warm-up. It's just getting us to the course. Oh, we got Yunfei in the group. From Team Innovation. I'll apologize to my legs later. A lot of banter in the group from my team right now. Always good to have a little bit of chat, chit chat. So yeah, the warm-up isn't actually a warm-up. We just have to get ourselves to the course. It's a circuit. It's about a 21 miles, 7 miles per lap. All this chatter is probably annoying people. What that means is they're gonna take it out on this hill. So we got to be ready. So here's what I'm going to do. Just before the hill, I'm going to make my way to the front. And keep that momentum. Before this right turn. And then as the pack accelerates over the top, I'm just gonna maintain my power so I don't get too intensely taxed. All right, so here's where I wanna move up. Here we go, right hand turn. You're gonna see the gradient, top right corner of your screen, increase. It's gonna increase the resistance on my smart trainer. That's about right. Single file. That's how you know it got real. This would be a great time for somebody on the front to attack. Because there's no rest. We went up a hill, no downhill on the other side. So we got to stay on it. And because of my position work, I didn't go too deep there. Still okay. We're gonna be on the course in a moment here when we go into the red banner. We're going fast as all get out. 29 miles per hour. Taking advantage of the blob here. Gotta stay with the draft. As soon as you see it going away, you gotta just throw it down. You gotta throw down the power, get back on. So not having raced this course before, I am a bit worried. I am a big guy, 193 centimeters. meters tall, or 193 centimeters, excuse me. I weigh 93 kilos, 205 pounds. So, while that's good because I can pop some big power numbers, it's gonna really hurt. It's gonna really hurt when we go up a hill. So I gotta stay aware of those, the location of those, so that I'm not at the back like this. I do not trust these riders to hold the wheels. The only person to blame for your race is yourself. So you got to make sure you're in the best position to succeed. And what that means in Zwift is good position going into the hills. You'd be surprised how well big guys do with hills. Like Brandon Meltingthaler, Melting Man from the West Coast. He's a larger guy, but he's trained specifically his 1-2 minute power so that he's in great shape for the hills. And he can get over the hills with a lot of the best of them. because of that training and that positioning that he does. Look at this KRT quartet just sliding around here. Frankly, folks, I'm pretty worried. Look at this stringing out. See, I'm behind Orahashi right now, and he's not paying attention. The wheel's going away in front of him, and he's just holding the same power. And honestly, I'm just trying to make him do the work to get us back up there. And I waited too long. Got to learn to recover. Low zone 4. So we're going up a hill now, see? $20 miles to go. Once you get over this, not much goes on for a bit. Going 30 miles an hour. It's speedy. And if you've been in a big bunch outdoors, go 30. You're in the middle of the bunch. You don't have to do this kind of power. So in Zwift, you're always pedaling. You never stop. There's talk about letting a guy go. It looks like somebody's off the front there. When attacks happen and you're on the back, you're at a disadvantage because you can't react as quickly. See how Zwift's just holding me like 2 meters off the back, and then when I come in, I'm not in the group, I'm on the side, so you can't really steer where you're going at all. See how I'm stuck on the right. Just annoying that that crap happens, because I didn't do anything to cause that. You're in a real race, it's your fault. But in this, it's Zwift's fault to just move you onto the random side of the road, out of the group you're in. So you got to be aware of that. Can't see any of the comments, I'm sorry. Facebook is a mess. trying to stay with Jeff Creel here. Moving back up into the group. There's no free ride, but you often wish there was in Zwift. Looks like some of the sheep are herding themselves up to close this down, which is dumb. Everything that makes you hurt is dumb. That's how it goes, man. This is suffering for real. It's not rational, but man, Zwift racing, you get to punish yourself pretty good. Got a ways to go before the first incline. I do not have a power up, so it's going to be raw effort when the time comes. Biggest thing you got to do in any of these group workouts, solo workouts, adventure ride, racing, you got to stop thinking and just do it. As soon as you start thinking, oh, my heart rate this, my power that, that's when the suffering starts. Until then, you're just riding your bike. All right, a little incline here, pushing it. Some guys are going. Roundabout. When there's a big old hill, a mountain, whatever, that's what comes, makes you really want to give up. On the flat, there's no excuses like that for us big guys. So it's easier to go a little harder. Here we go again. It's okay, nobody's punching it. This is a long one, it's not over yet. See the heart rate climbing. Got my boys. Once we get to that bridge, it's over. Over the hill. Actually, now we are already. Another one coming. I expect nothing less than chaos. There it is. Click down the block, low cadence, keep the heart rate in check. Here's my boy Yuri. He's back. Back from Baikal. Last wheel. That's it. Wow. Oh boy. That was quick. I'm cracked. Oh my god. Yeah, usually I don't like to be at 180 beats with 2 laps to go. But case in point, I started thinking, and thinking in endurance sports sometimes is losing. Oh man, I feel sick. So there you go. Dropped on live TV. Oh dear. Give me a few moments and we'll get some chat or something going. Right on the rivet. I haven't been hauling, but you can see Yuri's on a fray up in front of me. He didn't really let off like I did. He's keeping it going. But you see how much gap they put into him already. 30 seconds in about a mile. So, just what we deal with a lot. I'm a big guy. At one point my FTP was 4.01, so I upgraded to A. Partially because I was winning a lot of the B races, and partially because the rule says once you crack 4 watts per kilo FTP, not just in a race, but in any application, then you gotta race A in all races. Push yourself, you know? I know B races are tough, but you gotta stay on top of it and really push yourself to get dropped like that. Sticky Bottle says, where's Ian? He's in the loo. I'm not actually in the loo, but I'm gonna try to get the comments up, see what people are saying here on my telephono. I'm pretty well stuck at this pace. So, yep, it is a bit embarrassing. I'm not used to that course. So any course, it really helps to have ridden it once. That was my first time racing it. And I guess what gets you is that in the middle there's two gradual climbs. The first one is doable. The second one, not so much. So we got all kinds of comments. Alright, yep, people saying ouch, that's correct. This is ouch. I'm doing my best though. I'm not gonna really push on the pedals too much. The flat races, it's tough to watch because like it's not really clear exactly what people are feeling and what's exactly going on. So it makes it pretty tough to be a commentator, or sorry about punching the microphone there. It makes it tough to watch. But when you're in it, it's way more nuanced. So on a hilly race, like okay, most people are gonna save themselves so they can get over this hill. They're gonna go hard on the hill. Thanks, Kevin Ruff. Richard Law, yep, that was tough. Jerry Freeman, great effort. Thank you guys. Richard feels rough today, yep. I feel rough as well. But yeah, we're doing our best here. Let's see. Yeah, so the flat races, there's not much to watch really. It's harder to sort of understand what's going on. But when you're in there, it's like I was saying, it's nuanced. So you kind of, I have a bad habit these days of trying to sit on the back, trying to be at the back of the draft, because I find that any effort that you make to move up in the group is wasted because the game just sort of churns people around in the blob. So I find that in the back you're less affected by the constant churn, but at the same time, if you get the odd churn that comes to the back, then it can really mess you up. And that's kind of what happened there. I guess on this course there's a big sort of hill section with very slight gradients but no recovery. You go up one, then you go under a tunnel, and then you go up again. Well, I would say you should probably treat that as one effort. Keep the power on in the downhill in the middle, and not focus on a respite until you get basically up to 1 kilometer to go. So yeah, at this point I'm dropped, just so in case you're just joining us. I'm dropped from the Kiss America's AM race. We're doing 3 laps of London Flat here on Zwift Community Live. Got dropped in the first lap due to the hills in the middle section. But yeah, I even got a warm-up in, but just was not ready for that level of suffering. There's really no recovery either, so some of the Asian guys were having trouble. Some of the smaller guys, basically, they have really good watts per kilo, but they're doing like 250 watts. So they can't keep up with guys that are just sitting at 350 more or less. $350 for me is almost 4 watts per kilo. Well, not quite. Man, I feel rough. Hopefully I can get them. There we go. Alright, we're just gonna neutral commentate here on Zwift Community Live. We'll just talk about what we're looking at here in the race. This is the front bunch of the A group. They're going 30 miles an hour on the Greater London Flat course. Got all the beards in game. You can customize all that stuff in game. Love to talk about that stuff. It's a new feature pretty recently, and we're patiently awaiting the new course, which looks like it's got some hills on it. We've seen some previews on Strava from the game's creator and co-founder of Zwift, John Mayfield. Surely Eric Min will be soon to follow. But yeah, the course has some hills in it. It's which is nice because they have downhills. You'll see here pretty soon they're gonna hit one incline. There's basically 3 little bumps. You can barely see them on the course profile in the top right corner of your screen. We're going into the first one right now as we come into this roundabout. That's bump number 1. So these guys, they're going 26. You can see the speed coming down. The watts going up here as we sit with VeloViewer in the KISS A. Let's check in with Robin Zund here out of the State Grade of Missouri. Flying the Swiss flag around the roundabout. It looks like there's a bit of a split. A couple guys off the front. You can see their dots here up in the map in the top right corner. Some guys trying to make a difference here as we come through lap 2. New course, David Crisp asking. Oh yes, David. It's not a new course, but it's a new route. It's going to be on Watopia. Check out John Mayfield on Strava. I'm sure there's plenty written about it now on like the Zwift blog and other places. But it's a new little route. They're on Watopia. It's going to be released pretty soon. But yeah, sitting in with this group, this is the Greater London Flat. It's kind of a new course. I think it's the most recent expansion. Got some guys off the front. Got some really strong guys driving the pace. Wu Yunfei from Team Vision, ZADA approved rider. That's the Zwift anti-doping agency. So once your FTP is over a certain value, that's your theoretical hour power. Once your watts per kilo hit a certain threshold, get it? You submit real life results and data, and the community goes through it and says, yep, this guy's legit. So Wu Yunfei driving the pace here for Team Innovation as we come to the end of, or the second little hill climb. You'll see a bridge coming up over the top of the course here pretty soon here on Zwift Community Live. It's a bridge just coming up over the course. That's where this climb crests. You can see they're going downhill already. This is Mr. Milliken from Team Type 1. It's a team for those affected by and related to, close to those suffering from type 1 diabetes. And part of the point of that is to show that maybe you're not suffering so much. Maybe you can ride, or you can fundraise and all that stuff. They got group rides and things, and also a kit in the game. So Milliken now just drifting to the back as we come over. There's the bridge I was talking about. That's the, I guess, a tunnel actually. We're going under the tunnel, and in this tunnel we start to go back uphill. And this is where it really starts to hurt. You're gonna see the bunch string out a bit as the gradient rises. On the top right corner of your screen, you'll see the gradient. It's flattened out. Now we're going uphill to come out. And this is the third little bump on the Greater London Flat extension. You can see Stephen Wu here, Zwift HQ, 174 beats per minute, 430 watts, really spinning, revving the pedals, putting out some serious effort here. Guys are putting out 6 and 7 watts per kilo. Johnny Bester here from Australia, 176 beats per minute, 5 watts per kilo, and there is no end in sight. There's a little tiny dip here. I tried to get some recovery on the last lap where I was dropped on that little dip. Don't do it. Just keep it going all the way to the top. You got to carry that over. Sticky Bottle from the KISS Racing team doing good work, staying in the middle of the pack, maintaining that position here as we come up and over the top. We take that right hand turn, making our way back to the London Mall here, going into lap number 3, the final lap on the Greater London Flat. Coming over the top, just so to be clear, if I was in this group right now I would not be talking. I was dropped from this group 7 miles ago in the same spot. Very tough going right here. You can see though that the group is in a little bit of a truce. Nobody's really smashing it too hard, and they did catch whoever was off the front. There was somebody off the front. Usually the way that works is not so much people bridging across, but it's more like the blob just kind of reaches out. So one guy will go increase the pace, another guy just gets sucked along with him, and then it just sort of, the overlap comes, the churn, and the churn strings out the bunch, gets longer and longer. And then finally, the catch is made. So the bunch is a critical element of Zwift racing. You gotta stay in this group. But it's not like riding outside. If you were in the middle of this pack right now on a flat, 28 miles an hour, you would probably not have to be doing 350 watts. I'm just putting that out there. So it's a little bit different. And as soon as you drift towards the back, you're just really in a position where you gotta push, wind it up, get on that wheel, make the big effort to catch up. So now going into the final lap in this A race, we're sitting with Macedo here from the USA, 18 miles in, got about 7 miles to go, 1 lap remaining. This is how we're going to queue up for the sprint, so pay attention. Wu Yunfei, or Macedo here actually, excuse me. Macedo is using his feather power up right now because he doesn't want that power up. He wants to see if he can get something better. The feather power up is probably the least effective in the game. And this is all strategy that's playing up in the minds of these Zwifters as they head into the final lap. Just to be clear, once again, I am not riding in this group. I'm just pedaling softly along the back because I got blown out of the water. There is no water on this course, but, well, there's the Thames. So I got chucked in the Thames and paid a dear price for being out of position there in lap 1. It's a flat course, but you really just have to stay on the pedals at all times. So now coming into the mall, this is a very fast section of the course. It is slightly downhill. Slightly downhill. That's why you see the speeds up there nice and high, 32 miles per hour. Ah, yes, I am talking. That's interesting. Okay. So what's going on in the minds of these Zwifters right now? Well, some guys have some... Everybody responds to efforts differently, and there's no reason to be suspect of any efforts as we just come through, but you can see various levels of exertion from the heart rates here. Let's check in with Stephen Wu from Zwift HQ if I can actually click on him. This is one of the things, it's tough to click on a specific guy. Here's Jerome. He's one of our Masters racers from the KISS Racing team. A little bit of an older guy, so the heart rate doesn't beat the same as everybody else. But surely Jerome's suffering here, just having to hold 3.5 to 4, even up to 5 watts per kilogram. He's really good at staying in position. I never see Jerome at the back. So I just have gotten into a bad habit of drifting back to the back. Wendy, super fan, go Aussie. All right. Well, Wendy, we're really excited about Johnny Bester. He does well in these races. And Jeff Creel here from Team Vision. You can see them sort of cycling through. Jeff Creel is in the Team Vision kit, which is black shoulders and a white back, I believe. Yes, he's right in there. He's got the man bun set up. I can see him. He's on a Tron bike as we go from the overhead. He's right in the center of your screen here. So glad to have Wendy Superfan with us. Andrew Lloyd wants to know what smart trainer I use. I'm on the Wahoo Kicker, but I'm using PowerTap pedals for the power source. So those pedals are, you know, I can use them outside. I get the same numbers. Kicker's pretty accurate when it's warm, but you know, I can't bring it with me outside, so I want measurement outside, and I want that to be consistent with indoors. And personally, at least my kicker, every specific kicker is different, but mine reads a little high. So I just use it to change the resistance and for erg mode in the workouts. So Richard Law says, do you follow and care about your Cyclogent ranking? No. I mean, I look at it, it's curious, but to me it's a black box. They take numbers in. You have to read like a manual to understand what's going on. Gets churned, and then it says, boom, this is your ranking. So yeah, for me right now, I don't care if I'm finishing like 7 or 8 minutes off the back. I got dropped in lap 1, so it doesn't really matter to me. Right now the pace ramping up a little bit. We did have a little bit of a bump there as we make our way through a shared part of the course. And you can see the bunch getting a little bit more strung out. So some guys pushing it on the front. There's actually somebody off the front, but he doesn't know about the blob. And the blob governs all. The blob wins, especially on a flat course. So we did start with a much bigger group, and people basically dropped off one by one. What I was really hoping would happen was that a split would happen so that we could have like an A race like this. We're following the A race, and then an A minus race. Because I'm an A minus. I'm an A minus B plus. So rolling through in this group is just a little much for me today. But we're gonna stick with them as they come through the finishing portions of their race here on Zwift Community Live. Glad to have you with us. Yeah, Richard's got it. Some points about the CVR, and you know, it's another thing that we've got. Personally, my opinion, I don't think the game is there yet. I don't think it's sophisticated enough to be really worried about that, because the reality is different for every single person on the screen. It's just a fact of the internet. Nobody in this group sees the exact same thing. It might be nighttime on one person's screen. You might be on the right side of a guy on one screen and then the left side of him on the other. It's maybe not that dramatic, but I don't know. It's just not quite where you'd want to be to have rankings. But it's still interesting to talk about. I mean, Zwift Power is probably the closest thing, because that's sort of worth talking about, past results and stuff, and just sort of what people are capable of. Here goes Gudino, rolling off the front at 5.3 watts per kilo. He's got 6 miles to go, but nobody's told him about the blob. Let's see the blob in action here, folks. Once again, I'm not racing anymore. I got dropped. So I'm just sitting in. Wendy says go Jono and Jeffrey. But yeah, we're just trying to stick with it. Fitness comes and goes, and today was not the day. I was excited for this race, couldn't really sleep, but it's good to be excited for your training. But yeah, 180 beats. Oh, and there goes Yunem, the Japanese rider, launching off the front. This is just going to keep happening, but guys don't really understand what the blob is capable of. And what's going to happen is we're going to come to the, not to spoil it, but basically what's going to happen is we're going to come to the 3 bumps. And maybe on the first bump we're going to lose some guys. On the second bump we might lose some guys. And then on the third bump, they'll definitely lose some guys, and it'll pretty much just be flat out from there to the finish, with the bunch really strung out, nobody really able to move up. So your position going into that third hill is really critical. And you can see right now as the group gets more narrow, that's when you know it's getting harder. Just like in real life, very similar. But yeah, Zwift basically favors the heavier weight riders that aren't too heavy, basically. So, you know, like Tim Cartwright has an FTP about 10 watts higher than my best, but he weighs like 10 to 15 kilos less than me. But he's not like some of these guys that are like 50 kilos. That's too light. Here goes another attack. They're really ramping it up. They are making it go. You see Wu Yunfei responding. Now that's how you know it's serious. The race is definitely heating up. Jerome in great position here. Second wheel in the bunch, leading the chase, just staying on the pedals as we come around the roundabout. And you can see as we look back, the group is stringing out, and you do not want to be on the wrong wheel. You can effectively get caught behind a split, and right now there is a split, and we have heard from Rick Barbera, who recently did break the blob. We have heard that 4 or so is the magic number for a group to gain that blob status and get away. Basically the blob is just the effect of the super peloton, where when you're in that group, there's nobody necessarily on the front, but you're just going 30 miles an hour. And if you try to go off the front, you can't do it. If you go off the back, for sure you can't do it either, or you can definitely go off the back. But the point is that the blob just sort of coagulates all the watts and just turns into this super force that goes forward down the course. And if you're not in that group, you're not contributing watts to the group according to the game, and you get spat. So again, I'm not riding, I'm not putting out 350 watts and just chatting. I got dropped in lap number 1. And now I'm just chuckling along beside myself at the back, covering this race neutral for Zwift Community Live. I didn't really want to just ride solo for 30 minutes by myself and try to talk about that situation. For sure I probably could have come up with something, but here we are, about 4 miles to go in this, well actually a mile and a a third. We're in the second little bump. You know, if I didn't say anything about it, you probably wouldn't know that anything was happening, but we just crested the second little bump. Let's see how the heart rates are doing in the group. I'm trying to click on my boys from KRT because I know how they perform in these situations. Brian sitting at 150 beats. So actually not in too bad of a shape. Robin at 169. Robin's a Cat 2 racer. Franco Battiato here as well. Man, the names really just move around a lot, but yeah, the bunch is pretty well compact, but as soon as we come in here, we're gonna crest or hit the trough, right? We're gonna get to the base of this tunnel, and then it's gonna go uphill, and that's where I imagine people are gonna sort of start the war of attrition. That's pretty much how all Zwift races are won. Sometimes it comes down to a bunch sprint. This one will come down to a reduced bunch. And what'll happen here is guys will make it hard going up the climb, but then those with more strength will continue that effort over the top. Here's Charmig from Denmark at 186 beats per minute. He is not messing around. 10 watts per kilo now off the front. He did get the elastic to snap. He's definitely got that 5-meter gap. Let's see if he can hold it. Wu Yunfei from Team Innovation in the Alienware kit. Third wheel now, following Macedo just behind, who is bridging up to get with Charmig here at the front end of this race. We just have a little ways to go, a couple more bends. We're over the top, just about. A little ways farther. This is full on false flat. You can see right now that that group, you have that really long, elongated look right there, and there's boys at the back of this group right now who are, the farther you click back, the more out of position, and you can see the splits are forming. Homer's on the wrong side of one. You got to do this right now. Homer, he's putting out 180 beats per minute, 578 watts. Homer is a tremendous athlete. He always digs back from hardships like that, instead of just giving up. Robin and Johnny Bester on the wrong side of that split. Stephen Wu from Zwift HQ also getting caught out. Rob Weitzner from the State Grade of New York also in some trouble there. And now this reduced bunch, they've only shed about 5 as we come into the hard right-hand turn. This is where the fireworks are going to start out. Not everybody has the sprint for this. Wang here at 187 beats per minute. Holy mackerel. It's different for everybody, right? It's different. You got to remember that. But for sure, Wang now putting out 300 watts. Lower cadence, 76, 77. He's trying to get that heart rate back down, gearing up for the sprint. If you're ever in that situation, you need to put out the watts, but you can't get the heart rate down. Sometimes it's just good to click it up a couple cogs and just mash the gears. It might burn your legs up, but hey, it's better than getting dropped. Now we take this hard right-hand turn. Who's on first wheel? They're already opening it up. Some guys you can see out of the saddle, their avatars. Coming into the finish of this race. Looks like, keep clicking on the same guys. Yunfei at the front, 6 watts per kilo. Now we see all the aero power-ups come out. 300 meters to go. There's the banner. There's the, that's not the kite, that's the finish. And Wu Yunfei, 15 watts per kilogram. You were trying to stay up near the front. Let's get that overhead view. Jeffrey Creel way out front. But Wu Yunfei, is he gonna pip him at the line? Oh my gosh, that was neck and neck for Jeff Creel and Wu Yunfei. What a finish. Australia versus China there, with Wu Yunfei, one of the strongest riders on Zwift right now, and Jeff doing a really big dig right there to keep out in front. I don't know who got it there, but that was quite the finish, and now everybody just coming back down to the stratosphere. Nobody's pedaling, everybody is hurting big time. So yeah, I was not involved in that. I'm just pedaling along. I made the position mistake of wow, I'm way back. I have 5 miles to go. So yeah, we're gonna shut it down here pretty soon. 54 minutes in. That was a bit of a longer race, but just to recap, got a good warm-up in. We had a pretty tough first lap, and I got popped at about 180 beats per minute in the first lap. My max is 188 or so, and had basically been sitting at about 175 for the 170 to 175 for the whole first lap. So just not in the right position to close that one out. But Australia did pretty well today. China did pretty well. KRT did well. We see our friends from past. Yuri Onofre. And Ming did the smart thing and waited for the B pack to come through and is riding with them, which is way more fun than what I'm doing 9 minutes down the road. But that's alright. You win some, you lose some. I definitely got quite a workout when I was still in it. So we'll see y'all next time. That's going to be Thursday for me, but I believe Zwift Community Live coming back tonight. I'm not sure about that. A little bit of a different schedule this week, but at least I'll be here next Thursday. That's one thing I do know about. You can give us that like, follow us, get notified when we are live. Got all kinds of new exciting stuff coming this winter on Zwift and in the racing scene, and from Zwift Community Live. Really excited to bring that to you here on the interwebs. So we're gonna sign off. Sorry to the B racers here in this group, but it's time for me to get along with my day. So we'll see you all next time. I'll put my schedule up and we'll be back soon.